we have some new insight on WWE tampering with AEW contracts, courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp and FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 you can spend. Go over and read the full report over there now. Actually, after you watch this video, of course. I'll go over there right now. But Sean Ross Sapp does some wonderful reporting over there. I'm going to explain to you what we know so far, who some of the talents were that were tampered with, and what it kind of means in the context of all of this. Before I do, though, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Okay, so this was Sean Ross Sapp on one of his podcasts over at FightfulSelect.com. Last big plug there. Says, quote, I can tell you two situations that Khan took personally. One of which was Swerve Strickland, who signed a multi-year deal on pay-per-view. He was apparently reached out to by WWE for a Hit Row reunion. He, I believe, referred WWE or WWE's talent relations person to his lawyer, so Swerve did. Then there was the issue, or the other instance, when Tony Khan's mother was at the hospital, where while his mother was in the hospital, it became abundantly clear that WWE had tampered and spoken to William Regal. They offered him a new role that had already been prepared, so that's why he took it personal for those. This is, again, according to Sean Ross Sapp. There's a lot of context behind this. Of course, Tony Khan talked about the latter situation on one of the media calls before one of the pay-per-views last year, where he discussed William Regal, reaching out to him while his mother was in the hospital and saying that, he would like to go back to WWE and he wants to be with his son who is in the WWE system. And Khan, obviously let William Regal go back. The Swerve one was one that was kind of, rumored and speculated. I don't believe that it had been confirmed, at least not by Fightful, who is, in my opinion, the best arbitrator of wrestling news out there right now. I don't believe that Swerve was designated or confirmed to be one of these people, but it would make sense. I mean, Swerve was obviously a person that they brought in and they had big expectations for. They brought him in on a live pay-per-view as a primetime free agent signing, and right now we are seeing Swerve blossom as one of the ultimate final bosses in AEW. He looks the part, he feels the part, and the fans are reacting in that way. So I think Tony was obviously very right to be angry, and the fact that they wanted to bring him back for a Hit Row reunion, no offense to any of the members of Hit Row, no offense to any of them, but Swerve moved on to bigger and better things. That is just the truth of it. Swerve Strickland right now is one of the best heels in AEW. It's him and Christian Cage. And honestly, I think he's going to end up being one of the best faces in wrestling at some point soon, because he's just a guy who, he's a guy who won't be denied. Eventually his time will come, and he's worked so hard at it. But going back to the tampering, I mean, we all remember, I think it was the All Out press conference last year. Tony Khan, he mentioned, it was 2022. Tony Khan mentioned that he knew that there were WWE officials who had tampered with AEW contracts or tried to tamper with AEW talent. There were reports that he had sent a legal notice and a cease and desist basically to Triple H, Nick Khan, and Stephanie McMahon, who were in charge of the company at the time, telling them to stop reaching out to his talent. So, understandably, Tony was not happy. Look, if the shoe was on the other foot, if we're being honest, if Tony Khan was having conversations with talent that WWE knew were under contract for multiple years still, there's no question what would happen there. Without a shadow of a doubt, WWE that day would start a legal process against AEW. That's the truth of it. I know a lot of talents, especially in this industry, they have a period, a window where they can negotiate a contract. I'm not sure what it was for Swerve. I doubt here's what I was saying. I'm sure that Swerve, after just signing with AEW last year, did not have a negotiation period built in just a few months later. I highly doubt that. It's not the case. William Regal, that one was an interesting one because Tony had talked about it in more so of a positive light. So I'm sure the one that he was pretty angry about was the Swerve one. Although Sean is of course reporting that the William Regal one also kind of made him feel some type of way, understandably. At the end of the day, I think this is one of those things where WWE, because they're the bigger company, they're allowed a little more leeway. They feel like maybe they're allowed a little more leeway just because they've been around and they know how to do this without getting in trouble. They kind of know their limits. They know how to test the limits. And when you've had a monopoly over the industry for a while, sometimes you forget that, you have to, you have rules that you still have to play by. And unfortunately for WWE, the time where they can just, pick out talent from ROH, pick out talent from Impact Wrestling and all that kind of stuff, that time is gone. And AEW, being as big as they are, as profitable as they are, they are well within their rights to sign talent to exclusive deals. So I get why Tony's mad. I think that, obviously we haven't heard much about this after, these situations. We've heard nothing, basically, about tampering in 2023. But, it is interesting. And it's interesting also that, Swerve, apparently reported it. He was like, hey, just so y'all know, this happened. I'm not doing anything, but this happened. And it also, I think, speaks to, the way that, talent feel about AEW. Again, this is, one scenario here with Swerve, but, he feels like he was respected enough in AEW that, he wanted them to know. It's not something he necessarily needed to do, probably, contractually he needed to do, but, he respected it enough to be like, hey, here's what happened. I'll let the cards fall where they may, which also maybe works in his favor because, it's like, hey, look, I got interest. But yeah, very interesting situation here. We'll stay on top of it if it develops any further, but this is a very cool note to know. Guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell for all the latest wrestling news. Working on a few things. Go subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleVibes. And of course, my heart goes out to everyone suffering under oppression throughout the world. I hope we can have peace in this world soon. So until next time, keep it real.